Hi guys, Grey here for a new World of Warcraft video, and this video is a mid-season arena tier list video. I've promised you guys that I will make some tier lists at beginning of March, for arenas of course, and I will make that tier list happen. But please like or dislike the video if you didn't like the video or if you liked the video, and please comment below what you think about the tier list. Is it good? Is it bad? Do you think a few classes should be higher, a few classes should be lower? And let's debate. It's quite healthy and quite nice to debate with people because we learn a lot of things. Again, also please let me know if you want those kinds of content. What kind of content do you want to see for PvP in World of Warcraft? I'm also going to make some videos for TBC in the future, but for now I'm concentrating myself on Shadowlands and trying to reach as high as possible rating wise. I really want to be a glad this season or the season after this. So let's start. And please, one more thing, if you want to support me, please subscribe to my channel. You will see a lot of videos that are around World of Warcraft's PvP, and I hope you will see some guides that can help you, like the Elemental one, or the Fury Warrior one, or the Arms Warrior one, or even the Warlock one. So please let me know what you think. And now let's go back to the video. Let's start with the easiest class to rank. It will be the Arms Warrior. It is a clear S tier spec. Now, why is it S tier? It has a mortal strike effect, it has the defensives to try to survive as long as possible, it has reflect, it has even misshapen mirror, which can make everyone reflect from your team. Intervene, that makes like transfer the damage from your healer to you, and it is very bursty and very good. The downside I have with Arms Warrior, it is just not a very fun spec to play. I know why a few people like to play Arms Warrior, but I think the fun around Arms Warrior at the moment is around the Covenant abilities. If you play with Spear of Bastion, or if you play with Condemn, or if you play with, like me, Ancient Aftershock, then you can like shape your playstyle and make it very fun. If you want to see a Arms Warrior guide, you can always watch my video on top of the screen, and you will be guided to the guide for Arms Warrior in PvP. It is a very basic guide. It will just explain you which stats you will go for, talent, PvP talents, and how you should burst your targets down. Let's continue the video. Assassination Rogue. For me, Assassination Rogue is a very good spec. I think a lot of people just only see sub rogues and think that the other two rogue specs are bad. But for me, it is a definite and easy B tier. It is very good. It has a lot of bursts. It is maybe not the best of the B tier. It's probably between the B and the C tier. But for me, it's a B tier because it has the burst. It has the damage that it can provide. A lot of comps in twos that will make it work, but also it has an interesting playstyle. I think a lot of people just think about Assassination Rogue from BFA, and they're trying to forget Assassination Rogue with the Subtlety Rogue, but it is very fun and very intuitive to play as Assassination Rogue, um, and I feel like it is. Untapped power is very strong. It has an untapped power. It has the possibility to make it work with a lot of comps, with a lot of classes, and with a lot of specs. So for me, it's a B tier. I don't know if people would rate it lower than that, but for me, it is a great spec with a great class, and I think rogues are a good like in a good spot in PvP and in PvE in general. It has like really three fun specs with two good specs in PvP and one a little bit less, but I'm going to discuss a bit about it a little bit later. And hence, Shaman is for me a because it's a S, A, B, C, D tier, and you need to try to rank them. For me, it will be then an A tier. Why? Normally, on a normal tier list with all the classes combined, with all the specs combined, healers, DPS, and even tanks. I would say that enhanced could be a S tier. But for me, it's a A tier. Why? Because if you are going to compare them with with other specs that I'm going to tell you a little bit later, it is a clear A tier, and I think it has the power of an S tier, but it is definitely not as strong as an arms warrior. For me, enhance has clear issues, but are like they have like makeup around them because of chain harvest, because of the off heals, because of the possibilities to play with really good specs like warrior, with really good spec like a retri paladin, and the obvious problems that you can have as an enhance are kind of made up by the powers of other specs and other classes. That's why it's a A tier. It has burst, it has off heals, it has the CC with the totem, like the stun totem. You have like the anti-fear. You have like a good interrupt, which is really on a low CD, and it has like obnoxious abilities that can make it work for you. The only problems that you have is you get snared, you get rooted, you get stunned, you get feared, you get like CC'd, and you cannot do anything about it, and your defensives are very low. So if you are CC'd for a long time, your heals are not going to help you since you don't have a wall in your stuns. Feral Druids is another spec that I would say it's a A tier, but it is probably B tier if we are going to see melee wise, but it is A minus or B plus. So for me, it will be behind the enhanced shaman. Feral druids are very good, has very good CC potential, has very good off heals. That I will remember you, they don't spend any mana on their off heals except if they are going to cast like a regrowth or a swiftment on their selves, for example, if they are not going to use the procs. It has very good damage. It has convoke, which is one of the funniest abilities to press. Very satisfying, and I feel like they are not going to hard nerf it since it has like counter potential. It is not it's not like obnoxious. Don't forget, like warriors have condemn, which you cannot stop since it's only based on your health, and they can like press condemn every time they want. Okay, the damage is not comparable as convoke, but convoke has a 2-minute CD, and you can get stunned, snared, silenced, interrupted. You can get feared. You can get disoriented. You can get stopped. Basically, you can even get guided around it as a feral druid. So it is very strong, but has like obvious little problems like being squishy, like being uh, easier to stun, easier to kill. Since you're not probably not going to play as a guardian affinity, you can play as a guardian affinity in threes, but in twos you will most likely play as a resto affinity if you're playing with a DPS, since you want that off heal. So for now it's a A tier. I hope they can climb to S tier or climb like in front of enhanced shaman, but in my opinion, of all the hybrid specs that you have, like the melee specs, the hybrid specs, they are like kind of the worst of the bunch. Frost Decay is a S tier spec. Okay, it is not on the level of a warrior, but trust me, it has crazy damage. It has crazy potential, crazy setups. And when you're playing with a DK, basically your comp gets better just because of that possibility. It has a snare that cannot get dispelled. I remember, cannot get dispelled. You will need to shapeshift if you are a druid, or you will need to use like freedom if you have a paladin in your team, but it comes back since you cannot dispel it. The decay can just put it back, and then you're snared like 70% of the game. Uh, People talk about the snares of affliction warlock, but from the decay you are going to suffer from it. You cannot dispel it, you cannot put it away, and you are kind of at their mercy if they want to. That's why if DK plays with arms, or with a windwalker, or even with any other caster, it makes it much better since you will grip abomination a bomb limb, and then they stay on you for a whole duration, Yeah, it's very strong. I'm playing the Frost Decay at the moment, and with the Frost Drake, with the AoE stun, or even the AoE blind, it is very strong, and I feel like it is untapped. And Blizzard don't see the possibility to nerf it. So for now, it's going to climb, climb, climb until it's like top dog, and then they are probably going to nerf like everything from Frost Decay, and it will go back to behind Unholy, since Unholy is clearly not at the level of a Frost Decay. Fury Warrior. Now, I'm going to be controversial. For me, Fury Warrior is nowhere near as bad as people say there is. I'm going to explain also S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. B tier means just average. A tier means that you are good. S tier means you are the best of those specs. C tier means you are a little worse than the average, and D tier means you are the worst of the bunch. And for me, Fury is not the worst of the bunch, for sure, in melee spec wise. It is a C tier. I would even put them at B tier if it was a general tier list with uh, ranged casters, healers, tanks, whatever. It would be a B tier. But for now, since I'm rating based on their rating and based on the ranking of the class. For me, Fury Warrior is a little worse than Assassination Rogues. It has some serious lackings on a few mechanics and a few spells they don't have with their bigger brother Arms Warrior. Arms Warrior have Die by the Sword, have the Mortal Strike effect, has the how it's called, defensive stance, while Fury has like a self heal that they can do and try to survive. But if they play with a against disc priest that is going to mind games you, you are pretty much going to suffer from that mind games. Um, I feel like Fury is not that bad if you play with unhinged, if you play with a good comp. You get a little bit carried around, but you can pull your own weight because of the damage that you provide. I think Fury, like damage wise, has the same damage as an Arms Warrior, while an Arms Warrior has more crusty, crispy damage that they can do with the amount of self buffs they can make, and also the multiplying of the self buffs to put a big mortal strike or big execute, for example. So for me, Fury is C tier. Havoc Demon Hunter is B tier. I would say in front of Assassination Rogues. It is very strong if you play it right. The hunt is one of the best abilities of the game. If people are talking about convoke, it is because you see a lot more druids than the demon hunters. But trust me, a demon hunter that is doing the hunt and then interrupting their the hunt to fake a wall, fake a defensive from the enemy, and then once the defensive is done, stun you, kills you with an eye beam, then the blade dance, and then the hunt, you're pretty much dead if you don't have a wall. You're pretty much dead if the healer is on CC. So you have a lot of demon hunters that are very strong, very good, and yeah, I feel it's untapped. That's why I'm putting him on B tier, and I really hope they are going to get to A tier or S tier one day. But for now, it stays at B tier just because of few problems they have, like with consistency, with surviving some damage, and with comp wise. Why would you take a demon hunter instead of a warrior, instead of a TK, or instead of a windwalker, or instead of an Unholy Decay, instead of a red tree paladin? Yeah, even an assassination rogue is maybe easier to partner with than demon hunter for now. Combat like outlaw rogues. uh, For me, D tier it's a hard aspect to give, but for like since we are trying to rate them between the specs and between the top, the A, the B, and the C tier, I feel like outlaw is for me now a obvious D tier. Why? I feel like they are worse than Fury Warriors. They have like one good component, which is the stuns, the CC that it can provide, but they have like some obvious problems with good burst damage that it can do consistently. while sub rogues and assassination rogues can put some burst like in an instant. Outlaw rogues will need a lot of planets to align to make a lot of burst happen. Now I'm ready to debate about it, so please, if someone plays Outlaw Rogue and wants to debate with me in the comments, please do it because I want to learn more about them. I don't play Outlaw Rogue. Yeah, frankly, I don't see any outlaw rogues even on the rankings or even on the arena scene. So please let me know what they are, what they need, and how you rate them yourself since you are playing them. What is the obvious weakness, the obvious strength of outlaw rogues, and I would like to debate with you guys. So, Retri Paladin is the third S tier. I know there will be a lot of S tier, but I'm going to explain why. Retri Paladin is the best of the hybrid specs out there. They have like a lot of self heal, which is obnoxious. I hope they will nerf World of Glory. I'm okay to give them the damage that it can provide, but they need to nerf something. They could like let them do World of Glory, but it destroys their mana, which I would be okay. If there is no mana, then you can play around their mana pool. Like if you're trying to kill him and you see World of Glory, okay, 25% of their mana is gone. World of Glory again, 25% again, gone. 50%, okay, two more and then you can go kill him. But now it's if a paladin doesn't want to die, he doesn't need to do damage. He can just do World of Glory and try to keep him up like all the time. While I'm okay if they have burst, I'm okay if they have burst healing, but they cannot have both. So they need to give up something. I don't care. I don't care what. I think even savix was okay for that, but they just need mobility. I'm okay if they have mobility, if they just nerf that healing a bit. Don't they can heal themselves for 100% if I don't care, as long as it costs some mana. So there is a counter, like a counterplay to it. Since now they can just heal themselves into infinity, and yeah, of course they will not do a lot of damage, but they can still heal themselves while the healer is perfectly CC'd for 20 seconds. Whatever, I'm passionate about Retri Paladin because it's a very good spec. It is very strong, very fun to play, but they need to give up something because it becomes really obnoxious to play against. Like double Paladins, even Holy Paladin together, it's very hard to play in twos against those comps, but especially if the healer heals themselves instantly with Word of Glory, but also the Retri Paladin does it too, then our win condition is to stun them both and try to kill them both at the same time, which is very hard. So Sublety Rogues is for me A tier because I'm trying to compare him with other classes. Like Celebrity Rogues is a little better than Assassination Rogues. It is better than Demon Hunter, but for me, it is not better than a Feral Druid or it is not better than an Enhanced Shaman. Let me explain. Rogues have a few comps to play and very few comps to even perform in trees. Like RMP is one of those comps. Like Rogue Lock Shaman is also a good comp, but there you cannot pair a rogue with a warrior, for example. You cannot pair a rogue with a DK. It's also very hard. Rogue Windwalker, it's two squishy guys that are going to get destroyed if they are with each other in 5 meters from each other. Um, they can play with casters. They can make it work, but it's around CC, and again, I feel like you need a mage to handle those CCs and to try to temporize some damage from from the enemy. So for me, Sublety Rogues have the crazy opener, they have crazy CDs, crazy CCs, and crazy damage output in general. But once all those CDs are gone, they will need to try to survive. They will need to play defensively, try to run away. And that makes them A tier, not S tier, S tier. Because if you survive their opener and you survive like Shadowlands and you survive a lot of CDs, they will then be like helpless, and like a warrior has the consistency, DK has the annoyance, and Retri has the off heal. I feel like Rogues doesn't have those aspects. That's why it's deserved the A tier, but it is above the B tier. Survival hunters. Now I'm really a fan of survival hunters. Now the question is it better than Fury Warrior? I think so. I think it is better. Is it better than Demon Hunter? And that's the first issue I have. I feel like it's average. That's why I'm going to put them even in front of Assassination Rogues because they have like some good comps, like very good comps. They can play like jungle, they can play like in twos, like with healer or with DPS. They can make it work. It has like very consistent damage, but they like the burst. That's why they will need to pair themselves with a bursty component or a bursty spec or a class. Even with a bursty healer, I don't care, like a holy paladin or a resto druid going feral affinity. Like they will need some help to make it work. And I play survival hunter. I have difficulties to keep in playing because I feel like a lot of talents should be baseline, like Mongoose Bite should be baseline for me. They have so many things that should be baseline that I feel like it's not a complete spec. And I hope that Blizzard will one day change a little bit of survival. I don't care. I don't mind if they go back to ranged or they stay to melee, but at least make it significant better talent wise. I feel like talents are not that good. I feel like legendaries are very bad for PvP. The only good talent is feign death talent, but it's really defensive. Like you're trying to play survival hunter, you're not trying to play as a hybrid, trying to survive. You want dish out some damage, hopefully, if you play hunter. So I hope they change it. But for now, B tier has twos with a rogue, feral, with a healer. You can make it work with mage, I guess, but you will need a lot of CC to recuperate from a lot of damage that it can dish out on you because you will be the kill target for sure. Unholy Decay. Now, I'm debating against myself. Is Unholy Decay better than Havoc Demon Hunter, or is it better than Subtlety Rogue? For me, it is just a little bit better than in Demon Hunter, but it's not definitely it is definitely worse than Subtlety Rogue. It is not an A tier spec because the obvious S tier spec DK is shining around their auras and like your unholy decay just wishes to have like the half of the utility that the frost decay can provide. Unholy decay cannot AoE stun, cannot AoE blind, and I feel they are even squishier than frost decay, while unholy decay should be like possibly more tanky than the frost decay. So they will need a lot of help. For me, it's a B tier in front of Havoc Demon Hunter. It has really good comps. They can play like the Walking Dead comp. You can play with Affliction Warlock. You can play with a Warriors. TSG is still good with Unholy Decay. You can play with a Retry Paladin. You can play with any good comps that you can play as a Frost Decay. You can also do it with an Unholy Decay. You just are kind of gimping yourself. They have like great legendaries. They have like um, a great kit, but I feel like damage-wise, they will need a little bit more of a push from Blizzard to make them like A tier. I don't mind if they are not S tier. I feel like Unholy is the funnier spec to play, and I really hope that Unholy DK will climb the tier list. Windwalker Monk, is it better than Warrior or is it worse than Warrior? If I could make them like together, like that, I would do that. But for me, if I had to choose, I think Windwalker is better because it has the damage that they can dish a lot of damage like anytime. While Warrior has the consistency, Windwalker has the burstiness. But now the burstiness of Windwalker is close to consistency since they can always burst. I feel like there is not a moment where Windwalker will not kill you if they are on top of you. You can kite them, you can try to play with a resto shaman so they can root them all, like all the images. But Xuen does a lot of damage and I don't really understand why it does a lot of damage. Maybe I should like learn how they deal with Xuen, how they play with Xuen, but I feel like it's very strong, and Windwalker is at a great place, and they will need to nerf weapons of order, please. They need to do something to that for that, because that's the only reason why their consistency is so good, because they can weapons of order anytime, and then they can just pop other CDs. They have like general good CDs, but they don't need to pop everything to make you pop. They can just pop one CD, one CD by one CD every time you drop one defensive CD. They can drop an offensive CD, and they can trade very well, and that's why they are S tier. They have some off heals, but it's not a hybrid. It's for me, it is not as hybrid as a retri paladin or enhance or a feral, but they are really top dog. So I would say Windwalker and Arms are probably a league on their own. I would even put them on God tier if I could. And Frost Decay and Retri Paladin are on their own, but I will keep at like that because it's easier to read. So that is my tier list. Let's recap real fast the tier list. So at S tier we have the four best specs like melee wise in the game. Windwalker arms are on par, very good. Are played with closely with any other specs. They have the damage, the consistency, the defensives. They can have the utility. They are really versatile. They are very good. Frost Decay is the best support class. When you pair Frost Decay with any other class, that other class will get stronger in the game just because of the possibility that Frost Decay can grip to like everyone to him, blind, AoE stun, and they are at their mercy. Especially if they don't have a trinket, then they are like close to death. Especially if the healer is also in the AoE stun without a trinket, they are dead at that moment with a chill streak, with the damage of your other spec that you're playing with. They have the consistency for it. Paladin is one of like the Retri Paladin is the best hybrid spec out there. Has the off heals, has the damage, has the bubbles, has the sacrifice, has the possibility to be very obnoxious. The only lackluster thing they have is getting snared and getting kited around, but they have the compensation to have like the heals of a healer at any moment of the time with World of Glory. At the A tier, you have the three best next spec out there. We have Enhanced, Feral, and Sublety Rogues. Sublety Rogues stays like reliable because of their comps, because of their possibility to CC, the possibility to make crazy openers. And Enhanced and Feral are very good because of their comps, because of their whole off heals, because of the CC, and because of their damage that they can dish out in a short period of time. B tier Unholy Havoc with Survival Hunter and Assassination Rogues. That tier is very average. They will just need a little, like, just some buffs to put them at A tier, or for example, they will need a change of direction on their class, like for Survival Hunter, to make them very, very competitive. They just need a little bit of those things to make them very strong. Fury Warrior at the C tier, very alone. The only problem that I see is very defensive, but they will not put those defensives as arms warrior because they lack vision on the Fury Warrior. The Fury Warrior basically does the same as an Arms Warrior, but Arms Warrior does it better. That is the problem that they have. If they hadn't Arms Warrior as a spec, I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't stay C tier because the utility that it can provide is very strong. But since Arms Warrior exists and you need to compare them, it will stay at C tier. Remember, C tier is not that bad, but it's C tier on the melee spec tier list, and that is a reality. Fury Warrior is not like nowhere close to the average specs. Outlaw Rogue, I put them on the D tier because I have no knowledge about that class. Unfortunately, they have the problem with lacking the burst from assassination rogues or subtlety rogues, like the control that the subtlety rogues can provide, and I feel like the consistency of an assassination rogue is stronger than the outlaw rogue, so they are very average. They could be on the same tier as a fury warrior, but I needed to rate them between them, so I needed to have a S tier, I needed to have a D tier. So outlaw is my D tier. So this is the end of the video. This is my tier list. I hope you guys understand why I've put that tier list together. Hopefully you can also have an idea on which class you want to main maybe in the future. But don't just remember your D tier or C tier spec or your B tier spec could be S tier or A tier at any moment next season. You know, things can change, meta can changes, and don't remember a spec being meta from A to Z, um, like all patches long. It's always interchangeable. It helps each other. It gets nerfed, it gets buffed, and for now, play the spec that you want to play and enjoy the spec that you want to play. Don't be forced at playing Arms Warrior if you don't want to. Change specs or change classes. But please remember, it is still a fun game. You want to reach Glad or 3K with a fun spec and not with a boring spec. Hopefully, you can understand that. So please comment below what you think about the tier list, like, subscribe, and also make sure to watch my other videos if you want to learn more about warriors, affliction warlock, elemental shaman, and I'm hesitating between my new mains because I want to switch it up. I really don't enjoy warlocks at the moment, and warriors are kind of a love-hate relationship. It is a very strong class, but I feel like I'm not enjoying, so now I want to change directions. But I'm going to make a video about that. So please let me know what you think, and also have a great day. See you next. Bye.